but they are pretty. It's not hard. So yeah, and we have a schedule here. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead to start at very beginning. So this is actually 2012 FRQ. The question, when I see this kind of question, I will actually go in to do C first because C is probably the worth most points. Even though you can do A, B, and C, A, B, and C. So the C is asking using separation of variable to find y equal to b of t, the particular solution of differential equation with initial.
Yeah, I found my homework.
Okay. All right. This is the part that you didn't do actually, so you gotta pay attention. You got to 7, right?
What you said?
You got to question 7, right? Yeah. All right, question 12. This is a question on 2012 FRQ. So they're talking about bear population. Some people says I don't understand like what's the rate of change in model by differential equation. What does it mean by grow proportionally to 600 minus b of t? That usually you don't have to worry about it because it's proportional to something. It's gonna be, let's say, it will be like dy dt. So it will be dy dt is equal to k times something, right? But in this case, they say something 600 minus bt, and they also give you the k is 1/2. So you can just basically reading start from here, the differential equation part, because that's the equation they want you to read. Okay, so it's a number growing. So let's just go with A first. The name A is gonna say dB dt. And what they want you to do is basically plug in how many bear are they. So it'd be 600 minus 300 first, and the dB dt at half of 600 minus 400. And you're gonna realize this is equal to 150, this is equal to 100, and obviously this is faster than the other one. And so why is that faster? Now, ecological standpoint, like in terms of biology or ecology standpoint, is it ecology? Those of you guys in Science Olympia, you should know it's ecology, right? So ecology, why is a bear growing faster at 300 rather than 400? Why do you think that is? I feel like Oliver should be good at those questions. What do you think, Oliver? So he's pointing out the word carrying capacity.
Once we get to the carrying capacity, so slower the rate is going to be.
Right. Do you learn that in biology or you learn that in
Apes the biology.
apes? Okay. All right. So it's same thing. Like it's just like if you have, imagine you have 400 bears fighting like 1,000 fish compared to 300 bears fighting for 1,000 fish, right? So they are more likely to have less competition when you have less population. So you're actually gonna grow faster. It doesn't mean like more population you're gonna grow faster, but it's not entirely true. Like for example, in China has a lot of population, but right now China is going through a population collapse where nobody want to have kids in China because everything's so expensive. Like to buy a house is really expensive. And same thing started happen slowly to the United States as well. People are not gonna have as many kids. Like my parents' generation, I have 7 siblings, right? But at this day, yeah, back then it was on Netflix. So at this day, like you're not gonna have 7 kids, dude. That's crazy if you have 7 kids in this era, right? So that's the idea. So because everything is so much more expensive, the house is more expensive, everything. You're not gonna buy all 7 kids, like pay for their tuition and stuff like that. It's just not possible. So this is definitely faster here. And for B, so if you have dB dt is equal to 1/2 times 600 minus b, and if I want to take a second derivative, that means I'm going to do d to the dt here. So it'll be d2b dt2. And I would distribute this first. It'll be 300 minus half b. And if I take a derivative of 300, it's going to be 0. If I take a derivative 1/2 b, it's going to be negative 1/2 of dv dt. Now, you already know what is dv dt. I'm going to sub in back in here. So it'll be negative 1/2 times 1/2 times 600 minus b. And that's going to be negative 1/4 times 600. Wait, hold on a second. This one is going to be 600 minus b here. And if I put in the population, which is 450, so it's going to be negative 1/4 times 150. And so it's negative, so it's less than 0, so it's concave down. Basically, they just ask you, are they concave up, concave down? So in this case, it's going to concave down. Is that okay so far? Is this okay?
What is B?
B is a bear. They say I have 450 bears, so I'm gonna plug in 450. Yes. What? Because it's distributed 1/2 to 1/2. So it'll be negative 1/4. And B is 450, so 600 minus 450 is 150. Okay, so for the next one here, it says use the separation of variables. So this is the keyword, differential equation. So particular solution with differential equation. So you start with the dB dt is equal to 1/2 times 600 minus b. And then dB is equal to 1/2 times 600 minus b dt. And I do not want to distribute, because if I distribute, that's going to be bad. If I distribute, I cannot separate a b. So I keep things not distributed. I'll divide it over to make it easier. But a lot of people have tendency to distribute certain things. You don't have to distribute certain things. It's actually make problem impossible if you distribute. So right now, I just divide it over 600 minus b because I can isolate that 600 minus b. That bird cannot graduate anymore. He had a meeting with guidance about jeopardy to graduate. Uh-huh. I don't know. He's gonna go rainbow graduation. Okay, so I'm gonna integrate this. Now, one thing that I will say a lot of people tend to do is they do 600 minus b and they just automatically say it's natural log of 600 minus b. But the problem is you need to do du. Du equal to negative db, and that's gonna be, so in that case it's gonna be this is du and this is u equal to 1/2 dt. And that's going to be negative. So it'll be negative natural log of 600 minus b is equal to 1/2 t plus c. Now I get rid of negative sign, so it'll be 600 minus b is equal to negative 1/2 t plus c. Any questions so far? I'm gonna e to the both sides, so that's gonna be e to the ln of 600 minus b equal to e to the negative 1/2 t plus c. So this will cancel out. This is 600 minus b equal to, now this is a plus c, right? So that's gonna be c e to the negative 1/2. Do you remember that? And if I solve for it, b is equal to 600 minus c e to the negative 1/2. Now we have to figure out what c is. Now I'm going to figure out by plugging the initial condition. So 0 and 200. Right here. Okay, so this is I think it's 200 equal to 600 minus c e to the 0. So c is equal to 400. So b is equal to 600 minus 400 e to the 1/2 t. Negative 1/2 t. Uh, yeah.
Can you explain why you take it intro to begin with? Like, how are you supposed to know the wording of the question?
Remember I talked about the notes. The note says find particular solution of differential equation. You're gonna. That's why I write on the first thing on the notes, like the question phrase they will ask you is to find differential equation for particular solution with initial condition b is 0 equals 200.
I got you.
Maybe rainbow graduating.
Huh?
You're gonna be rainbow graduation.
Counselor at my ass, Mr. Dr. Connor, Mr. Probably, all of them are literally there.
Oh really?
Yeah, bro.
And what did I say? You're gonna go
Bro,
through.
I go in there, I see like all of them standing there, like with the trouble kid student counselor or whatever. And I'm like, bro, like, and then like Mrs. Thomas was like just tripping about me. And like, it was like, you're not gonna graduate, you don't listen and stuff. I was like, you literally told me I don't have a chance to go to college, so I shouldn't even try for the SATs. And then like, and then she was like, well, I don't see how you need the SATs if you can't graduate. And I was like, I did the SAT, now I'm gonna do the graduation. And she was like, you're like the worst case scenario of like senioritis. And then she just dropped me as her student. Now I'm like, somebody else is my counselor. And she's like way more nicer, bro. She was like, yeah, I think you can do it. Just finish the class.
Who's Dr. Connor?
Huh?
He's still up
No, Dr. Connor is above Mr. Crowley.
He's pretty nice, right?
Dr. Connor? Depends. He's really strict, but like, if you are chill with him, he's chill with you. But like, if you're not chill, he's like really strict.
Who's in your counselor?
Huh?
Who's in your counselor?
Mrs. Wilder or something? She's like under Mrs. Stanley or whatever. It's for like the kids that are like
When you
retarded.
said U equals 2, 600 minus B.
You're live streaming.
Womp womp, I'm retarded. So they can't do
Yeah.
anything. But
Way smart.
This is how you're gonna get your shit in trouble all the time. But that's okay.
how is that my fault?
All right. Yes.
Can you explain where from where in the get negative one?
What do you mean negative 1/2?
Like in the
I think it was negative 1/2. Wait, hold on a second. I don't know. Oh. And here I distribute, right? This is a, if I take a derivative, this one is gonna be, this is a negative 1/2 b, right? What's derivative of negative 1/2 b? So it'd be negative 1/2 dv dt, right? That's how you get negative 1/2. Because if I distribute this, I'm gonna get 300 minus half b, right? And I take a derivative of this, so it'd be negative 1/2 dv dt. So that's why it's negative 1/2, and negative 1/2 times 1/2 is equal to negative 1/4.
okay.
Yes.
Wait, you said so the derivative of that is negative 1/2 dv over dt. Where's the extra?
I don't have x. So first of all, I'll distribute this, right? dv dt is equal to 300 minus b, right? If I take a derivative, right, is equal to, if I take a derivative 300 is 0, take a derivative b is going to be negative dv dt, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a 1/2, sorry. So it'll be 1/2. So that's why it's, you have 1/2. You have negative 1/2 here, and then dv dt, you have to substitute the original function. This is dv dt, so you substitute it here. Okay, so that's that. So this is today's notes. Again, I swear, Apple TV need to fix this shit. This pisses me off.
Is there a way to disable it?
I like a privacy.
Yeah.
Can you teach me how to do it?
I'm guessing it's just somewhere.
This is it pisses me off.
I think it's called like family privacy.
I don't know. I don't use Apple.
What's your Apple TV's name?
Stop locking into my thing.
No, it wasn't me. So we're trying to figure out if I can stop it.
Oh.
How would you?
How do you stop it?
What's
No,
your
Fabian
name?
will figure out for me.
Name.
They got my highest SAT score, bro. I know. I'm like, what are the other students, bro? Well, that doesn't work. Hope and no, she was trying to make me do the first period hope, and I was like, I will literally.
Do online hope.
I'm doing it online.
Online, you can do the fake push-ups.
Yeah.
You do like 1,000 push-up a day.
Yeah. No, like it's like Sorkin, like the app.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have one time I sat there and I did push-ups for 120 minutes apparently.
You didn't do that, did you? Jacob, you didn't do that, did you?
Yeah, literally.
It has to be you.
Bro, like these niggas are so funny, bro. I was talking about you, bro. Oh, yeah.
Wait, but like, what if you just do sports health care?
You do belong.
No, but just before.
I'm trying to finish this lesson, dude.
There was
Yeah, I was trying to watch it.
Yeah, they took that away.
So like, I have to do the app now?
I closed out of it. I don't know. Well, there's two ways you can do it. You can either
They make it run out
and then you have videos, or if you do a sports line.
No, but I'm talking.
Maybe I don't think I can survive without you next year.
You have Alan.
Alan?
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
I never.
okay.
He's taking that stuff.
Bro,
Yeah.
That
Traded him? No.
Shut up.
Oh, and you have Emily too. Alan.
At least for me, I don't know.
Got it.
But like,
Yeah, I don't like to have.
no, for mine, they're like, yeah, you're screwed. You're gonna have to dig.
Oh, yeah, the ball.
See, you used to a bit just had to sit next to the computer and it would work. Now vaping can maybe actually have to work out. A bit can really like sit next to it. The Apple TV will decide to work. He has so much aura. He's like,
Just in the rain, it's like 10 miles.
yeah. Like literally, like one day I have a light, like one of the light is not working, like right above me, and he's come near me and the light start working. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about slope field. How much time I have? 7 minutes. Okay, good. That's enough. Okay, so slope field is based on bunch of slopes. Okay, so dy dx we know is slope. Jacob, pay attention. So dy dx can equal to several different values. You can equal to 1, so the slope is going to look like this. At a single dot, you're going to draw a slope of 1, which just looks like this. Because that means rise 1 over 1. Now, this is the most important slope. Dy dx is equal to 0. What does 0 look like? A horizontal line. Okay, it's a horizontal line. So it's going to be a horizontal line look like this. And dy dx is equal to -1. That's going to be like this. So basically, you're going to go to each point. You're going to plug in their slope at that particular point. It seems like very tedious. It's actually very easy. Now, you got a dy dx is equal to 2. What does the 2 look like? Well, 2 looks like this. But long as you don't have to be exactly like that. You can look like 1 is fine, but as long as you don't get confused between negative and positive, you should be fine. Because dy dx is equal to -2, then it looks like this. A little bit more steeper than 1, but... And you can also get dy dx is equal to 1/2, which is a little bit flatter because you have rise over 1 is go up 1, right 2. And dy dx is equal to -1/2 is equal to like this. So basically, if you go in to graph all the slope, the most important slope is this one. You just have to pay attention to that one. That's it. Because with that one, you can define for a lot of things. You can solve a lot of problems. A lot of time on AP exam, if you identify the 0 slope, they already get 1 point. Rest of the slope only get 1. So I'm going to see here, let's say dy dx. So for this question, I'm going to do x and y. And I'm going to do dy dx. So what makes dy dx become 0 when x is equal to what? When x is equal to -1? And this could be any value because it does not depend on y value. Some questions depend on y value. Then it's going to be fun. So this one is going to be 0 slope. So that means at -1, x equal to -1, you have a 0 slope. This is the most important slope. What happened if it's at 0? What happened when x equal to 0? It's 1, right? So 1 is going to look like 1 slope. The scale is always interval 1, so. And what happened is at 1. It's going to be 2, right? So 2 is a little bit steeper than before. Now, like I said, they don't care about how steep they are. They care about if you have right direction, which is the negative or positive. Obviously, if you go in higher, it's going to be more steeper. And going this is going to be like very, very steep. Almost like straight line. And now here it's going to be, let's say it's at negative, let's say -1, -2. It's going to be -1. So the slope is going to be like this way. And obviously this one's going to be here. Because you plug in -3. -3 is going to give you a slope of -2. So basically it's a slope field. And this almost looks like some type of like weather system. Like if you go into look at the weather and they have show you like cold front and like and stuff like that, you will see those things. Usually pretty much tell like wind speed of certain things. That's also another thing. Now you probably had to ask Alex Hill because he's expert at the weather. I think Science Olympia should have like a weather event, and you should let Alex Hill to run it. No one is gonna. Yeah, he's gonna be like. It won't be a bad idea, right?
I think it'll be amazing. I don't think Alex will agree to that.
No, he will agree for weather. He will agree for weather. That kid's fanatic toward weather. Okay, so now let's do this one here. X and Y. Now, here's the thing. Can you summarize? So last time I can summarize when x equal to -1, the dy dx is equal to 0. Can you summarize in a sentence what makes dy dx equal to 0 at this situation?
X equals the negative y.
Yes, when x equal to -y. So give me one example.
-2, y equals 2.
Good. -2 and y equal to 2. That's equal to 0, right? And that means -2 is right here and 2 is right here. So that's going to give you a 0 slope, which is the most important slope. Can you give me another example, Samuel? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can do 2 and what? -2, right? That's also equal to 0. So is that okay? Now, can you summarize a situation that always going to be zeros? When what actually Jacob already summarized is when you have the positive and negative, right? So you got +2 and -2. You got -2, +2. So basically somewhere along the line here. Does that make sense? There's always a 0 slope. Now let's look at the one point on the right of this one. And one point on the right of this one would be 1, 0. So 1, 0, what will it be? 1, right? So that slope is going to be 1, right? It turns out everything one point right next to it is going to give you this. If you plug in. And the other side is going to give you this slope here. And then you're going to go ahead and just do that. And this side is going to give you this. so this will become a slope field. You can plug in all the points, and this is what you realize. So you can practice on all of them. And there's actually on Google, there's something called slope field generator. If you type in slope field generator, Google Desmos, and it will come out a something. You can check your slope field, whether your slope field is correct or wrong. So the slope field generator pretty much looks like this.
See the other remote.
Huh?
The other remote.
You don't have a good history.
Apple TV.
You find out a way to do it?
Yeah.
I'll find it. I'll let you know.
Okay, I'll come back on the
Differential equation.
Yeah.
Cause I look forgot.
May I take the test tomorrow?
Yeah.
Because I won't be here Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be rushing this year.
I'm gonna.
That's fine.
Your test on Friday.
So this is a slope field generator. That's what it looks like.
Girl. You don't need to go to anything, bro. Like nothing's gonna change.
Nothing.
Huh?
For you?
Me, I'm not gonna change. Especially because of Miss Thompson, bro. What am I fat? And I've been going to gym 3 days a week.
It's still bad.
He does like one set and then he rests for like 20 minutes.
Bro,
He's like, and then like back on the phone.
That's pretty hard.
first of all, it's better than nothing.
No, I'm going to the gym today. I don't care.
I'm going to the
She's
gym.
snapping at you. She's snapping. She's like this.
Let's see, it's almost going to make your board. Huh? Yeah. Bro, one day I was jolly, Missy. One day after like a long time, I pulled up to school. I'm actually happy. They got the whole Avengers team on my ass, bro. Like, no, literally, Mr. Connor, I don't even know why she needed all those people there. Mr. Connor, Mr. Prodi, I didn't even know Mr. Prodi knew me. Like, all of them.
Brody doesn't know you.
No, he does. I didn't know he did, though. He didn't deal with it that much.
Check directly to King Pass.
Yeah, so, like, hey,
I
got
feel bad,
the end of.
but you wanted to go.
I mean, they could have gone without me.
They
Oh,
won't,
that's not my problem.
but they won't.
And how are we gonna pay registration before? Like, did we not have to?
I
If we
pay
had
for
gone.
it. The club paid for it. Because we generate a lot of money. If I don't spend it, then school is gonna take it.
So
So
why didn't we use that for this?
yeah, because I can. Because that is. Do you see what I'm saying?
No. It's okay. That makes sense.
Let's see, today's not our day, Mr. Today's not our day.
Yeah.
Today or?
Yeah, you can. Lena literally told me on.
Hey, you just
She's
stop
gonna
it.
skip her. She was gonna skip this test on purpose.
Mr.
I
Yeah,
think you should
actually
give her
not
a
that I
zero.
do on purpose. I thought I had a competition going on. I was like,
Nah,
he's lying. I told he and Peter exactly I would buy my challenge, but I'm so afraid to tell you the truth. That I would buy my
You know, poor Peter's too innocent. She can bully her into not talking, but I'm not gonna give in. Like all the counselors on me, they can still not make me do anything.
Bathroom, apparently a third of the male population in this world decided to bathe in that one fucking bathroom.
You should cheap this with them here. Just hit the car.
Nicholas says like you go to the bathroom and some people come up like this.
Yeah. All the way at the end one, because kids usually smoke there, they would like tell you to just get out.
Can we take it outside? Or can we stay in?
I don't trust their back.
That's why I leave it in the crash start.
Whoa.
Let me give you a hard one or something.
Okay.
That's kidding.
You want me
Yesterday, who need to take a test?
It's not good.
All right, so.
And he was like, wait, stuffed animal, and I was like, yeah, it's fun. And I'm like, you're gonna stay out.
You mentioned China.
Why are you actually worried?
No, wait, no. I mean, we worded it like, yeah.
And I was like,
It's very good. Like,
like I actually don't want to.
One thing is not dated. Not dateable.
hell, that's like on the computer.
No, I'm not.
Oh, they're having a
Yesterday, honestly, everybody on the table I tried to feel traumatized because of the last one of the
I definitely am. You know what? We have to base that Chris again. Because I think we have to create the No, I'm not. Yeah, they are. Oh my god.
engineer effect.
Wait, but you have to see the video in the call too. It's not like.
When did he call you back?
No, he never texted back. No, I have work.
Wait.
I'm running on 6 hours
But yeah,
sleep
you
and no breakfast. Any chance I can quickly pop in there to get the open pack of cookies?
For what?
There's a pack of cookies in there that are open. Just they're taking a test. But
All right. Yeah. So. What? All you guys have his number.
I should be
Well, he so many girls have his number and he had no girlfriend.
Wait. That's a cute picture.
We'll call him. We'll call him.
He's not gonna answer you.
If we call every day.
No, I never liked him. They're like me.
bro.
No. Alejandro, does Lucia ever like Chris?
You should start.
But like, you should make yourself. I think you should like him. Both days I've ever watched.
You know what? When you guys were talking about him, we can all like him too.
You definitely do like it. Way through messages. Boring guy, Katie.
All right, let's talk about ratio tests today. Oh, darn. Oh, this people have on Monday.
every time you say ratio test, I hear racial test, and I'm like, oh no, racial.
I'm racist, so.
Not Friday. Why can't we just do it tomorrow? Let's do it tomorrow. Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, the last one.
No, we're gonna grade this one before the last one. Because I want to know how bad is this one.
It was bad.
I'll tell you that.
Okay, let's ready. Let's ready. I have it last week.
Okay, so let's talk about one of the most important tests. And the reason why we didn't put this question, into the ratio test into the first test is because two things. One is it's already overwhelming, and as is, but also ratio test is actually the most important test questions because ratio test should be on its own because you can use ratio test for a lot of different things. So, some people did it right on the test. For example, I don't remember what the test question was. I think it was 2 over 1 first. What's the next term? I think it's 4 over 2. And as a negative. And a plus 8 over 6. And the minus what? 16 over what? Over 24, and then plus 32 over 120. Something like that. Now you know that this is an alternate series, right? You know this is alternating. So this one is going to be -1 to the, well, depend on what's my first term. My first term is,
We're supposed to do that one?
yeah, this one's on the test.
Yeah, it was on the test.
Yeah.
Right?
So -1 to the n what?
+1.
N plus 1, because the first term is positive, right? And then, so let me ask some of you guys question. Ethan, I would say the last time I cursed out somebody, it was last week on Brendan. I don't know if he told you. Also, Eli, good shot, by the way. That was a great shot. Um, yeah, Eli got Brendan out. What? No, it's minus plus. All right, so shh. Now this one here, we sort of have to think about a little bit about ratio test, but you don't have to. But the idea is still using the same idea, but just we had talked about different way of doing something. So this one is going to be 2 to the n over n factorial, if you realize that this is the setup. Did you have this? Because the bottom is a factorial, right? Okay. Shh. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna say this one's alternating, right? It's alternating, so it's gonna be a check because there was plus minus. And then you say what happened when limits n approach infinity of 2 to the n over n factorial. Well, we have talked about we can't really exactly prove which one's faster, but so we give you a general rule of thumb. We say on the test, you can technically use that. We can say, well, 2 to the n is not going to be as fast as n factorial because n factorial is the second priority. It's the second priority. And then that is, so that means this will go to 0. Is this okay?
Yeah.
Now, what's the third one to alternative series? Huh? Decreasing. Okay, so can we take a derivative of this function? No, right? So, so ideally, we talk about, we compare like a to the n plus 1 is less than a to the n. Now, this is a one of the things.
My brain just freaks out because my brain is seeing a to the n plus 1 is less than a to the n, and instead of a to the n plus 1 is less than a to the n.
Okay.
Just a little
So what I'm gonna do is, I only see Peter did that. Is I think some people did that too, but I only see like it did it. Yes, divide over. And we are sort of doing ratio tests indirectly at this moment. We're going to show you how ratio test is. And we're going to realize this is actually, in a way to get there, just like kind of combine two things. So basically you compare this, and we're going to show you the definition of the ratio test in a second. So you say, wait, a to the n plus 1 over a to the n. And you say, okay, well, let's focus on this part, right? And let's do 2n plus 1 over n plus 1 factorial. Is that okay? And then divide. What's the next one? 2 to the n over n factorial, right? And this one would be 2 to the n plus 1 over n plus 1 factorial. This one is going to be n factorial over 2 to the n. So we can simplify this. 2 to the n times 2, right? And this is n plus 1 times n factorial times n factorial over 2 to the n. Am I going too fast? This will cancel out. This will cancel out. And this will be 2 to the n plus 1. But we says 2 to the n plus 1, it's always less than equal to 1 when n is greater than 1, right? Is that true? So is this decreasing? It's a very long way to prove it. It's a very long way to prove it. But we basically compare, that's why we say you can decreasing, there's two ways to approach it. One is approaching by taking derivative. And honestly, there was probably a way to take a derivative of n factorial, but I don't know how. And I didn't bother to look into it. I don't think so, but they might have something like that. And I don't know about it. But we can prevent that to be able to take a derivative. We can just compare the a to the n plus 1 over a to the n. Now, the best way is to divide it over. When you divide it over, it's less than 1, then you're doing good. Because this is one way I talk about. You can divide over. You can also compare the an plus 1 less than a to the n. You can compare this way. But this is another way to get there because you divide over. Now, let's pay attention what we're going to introduce today. Today, there's actually a something called let summation of a to the n be series with non-zero term. Non-zero terms. So they say, hey, pay attention. First one, the series summation of a to the n converge, not only converge, but converges absolutely when limits of n approach to infinity of a to the n plus 1 over a to the n. It's less than 1. Does that look familiar? Well, first of all, the two things different than before. This one we put absolute value. What happened to absolute value? If you absolute value something, right? It's going to be absolute. Let's converge absolutely. But it has to be less than 1. And if you do this less than 1, then it's automatically converge absolutely. Now, what if the other way around? If you have second situation, the series summation of a to the n diverge. When do you think it's diverge? Yes, because when it's greater than 1, that means the function is what? It's increasing. But if you're increasing of a series, if you add a term bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, do you think they're going to converge or diverge? Does that make sense? Yeah, it's diverge because you're adding a bigger term. The number is going to get larger and larger and larger. Even it's alternating still. -1, +2, -4, +9. Something like this is going to switch sign, but it's still going to go to infinite. We don't know which side of infinite is, so it doesn't really matter. So diverge when limits n approach to infinity of a to the n plus 1 over a to the n is greater than 1. Very big deal is you compare to 1. Because you compare to 1, that's the best thing. Remember, why do we compare to 1? Because this situation divided by a n to the both sides. Does that make sense? Yes.
What if it's not like increasing or decreasing? Like it's just equal to 1. Like not increase, like not increasing or decreasing.
No, it's equal to 1 is inconclusive, yes.
What does that mean?
Just we don't know. There was probably other tests we need to do. Okay. But most of the case is not gonna be that resolved with that, but sometimes. Yes.
You said if it equals to 1?
It's inconclusive. n approach infinity of a to the n plus 1 over a to the n, when they equal to infinity, same thing. Infinity is even worse than greater than 1, because if you just get a number, that's fine. But if you become infinity, that means a to the n plus 1 is infinitely larger than a to the n if you do a direct comparison of it. Okay, of course, the last one that says the third, the ratio test is inconclusive when limits as n approach infinity of a to the n plus 1 over a to the n is equal to 1. So this is inconclusive. So let me give you a question. See is which one you want to do. So sometimes it will be inconclusive, but that's very rare. But you can. So let me give you a question. That says summation of infinity of n equal to 1 of -1 to the n of 9n over n to the 5th.
Is it a font?
N to the 5th.
Okay, for a second I thought we were going to have another fire alarm. Oh, how about there?
It's a good question. Yeah, no, but I don't really want to. You remember the case? Wait, it's gay? Oh. Like the little things have to change it. Like if it does, that means that like it's gonna be.
What? It's not equal to 0 on this one though.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because like remember the previous one is here. The limit went to 0, right? But for this one
We don't have to do alternate series tests. We do straight to ratio test.
Oh, so yeah, you can just go. You don't
You just
have to
do a straight
eliminate.
ratio test.
Straight to ratio, and then we just expand this and cancel the derivatives, and then you take the limit of this as n goes to infinity, and then it's at like 9. Oh no,
I don't think so.
If you know how to do the
'Cause this-
power by function.
this has to be expanded, right? And then eventually it's gonna cancel out with this top n to the 5th. But then it's still gonna go to, it's probably gonna go to 0 because if you're doing n to the infinity, and there's still gonna be n's in the bottom. So the end behavior of this.
Can
would be
you just put the whole thing equal to the, can you just use exponential rule like this?
Oh.
What is that equal to?
What is this equal to?
1. 1 to
Oh
the
yeah,
fifth power.
1. Is that really it? Okay. You keep it.
All right, so shh. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna compare limit n approach infinity, and I'm gonna do -1 to the n, 9 to the n over n to the 5th, all over, I mean n plus 1, right? This one is n plus 1. Is that okay?
What?
I'm gonna go to absolute value. First of all, absolute value this. Is that okay? So far on the top term. On the bottom term is gonna be -1 to the n, 9 to the n over n to the 5th. Is this okay? This absolute value is gonna take this out completely. We don't even consider the -1 anymore because alternating is automatically take away. So you don't need to do alternative series test like the last case. The first case I introduced was you didn't have a ratio test, right? You didn't have ratio test, so you had to do alternative series test, and you had to do all that, but you still had to do the same thing practically at the end. But now we can just get rid of that immediately. Boom, done. So that's equal to limits as n approach infinity of 9 to the n plus 1 over n plus 1 to the 5th times by 9 to the n to the 5. Am I going too fast? Yes.
You don't have to prove that limit as n approaches infinity of an equals
No, that's what's nice about ratio tests. Just boom, absolute value. You don't you just bypass AST completely. You pretty much you're doing the third part only. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you can say absolute conversion. That's much better, right? Ian, you understand so far? Are you writing down? Doesn't seem like you're writing down. This is what happened. You just stare at your own thing and you don't understand what I do. And that's bad. And this is happen to be the stuff you can actually be good at. 9 times. Now, can I just do n to the 5th over n plus 1 to the 5th? Can I, since they all 5th, you can just do limits n approach infinity of 9 times n over n plus 1 to the 5th, right? Since they all 5th rule, 5th power. So what happened? This is reach infinity. This has become 1, right? And 1 times 9. 9 is greater than what? 1. So is that converge or diverge? So that means this one is going to increase a lot faster. But now we can prove it now. We can actually prove it. When do we use ratio tests? What do you think that you should, when do you use ratio tests? When you have something to the n power, good. What's another case? Factorial, good. So when you have factorial, have something to the n, automatically ratio test, it actually take care of a lot of things. So I'm gonna give you a little bit hard one, see if you guys can do this one, okay? So this one is a summation of infinity and n equal to 0, and then n squared times by 2 to the n plus 1 over 3 to the n. 3 to the n, not 3 to the Another one. Yeah. N to the n over n factorial. The second one is a little bit harder. But I'll go over that one. Where's your first one first? Okay, so let me ask you guys a question. After test, you obviously don't remember what's definition. How many of you guys go look it up? But you got it right though.
I remembered it correctly.
Okay, how many of you guys go back look it up? Three people got it correct, by the way. Alejandro, Fabian, and Kushan. Now, if you didn't get it right, why can't you just go look it up when you left this room? So this is what the attitude that I don't think you guys hold the right attitude. Yes, it's a curveball. It's a summation. But you should go find out what is it if you don't remember. Is that on AP exam? Yes, absolutely. But I just think like a lot of things, like a lot of time, like you guys don't go figure out what you did wrong, and that's a you guys. I would say you taking this class is really useless, and I'm sure Katie will love to for me to hear that. But I don't know why she's taking it first place. If she knows that I've been saying it's useless. But the attitude of things, if you don't know how to do something, you go figure out. It's not like it's not a problem you don't know how to do it. I have no problem if people don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do something, I'll go look it up. If you got 2/3, what does that mean? Converge or diverge? Converge what? Thank you. Converge absolutely. So yes, the first one is 2/3. First one's 2/3. Why? How many guys did not get 2/3 yet? No. Can you work through it? You should get 2/3.
Yeah, but started with what?
Yeah, overall.
Well, I mean,
I got R, T.
So the thing is, I got it all the way down to n plus 1 squared times 2 over n squared plus 3. Yeah, like that. Ow.
Did you guys get the first one?
Yes. Well, I got at least mount of it.
Anybody, did you get it? Okay. Katie? All right, so the next one, a little bit harder case. So it'd be n to the n plus 1 to the n plus 1, right? Over n plus 1 factorial limits n approach infinity over n to the n over n factorial. That's limits n approach infinity, n plus 1 to the n plus 1 over n plus 1 factorial times n factorial over n to the n. So the limits as n approach infinity, this one's going to be n plus 1 factorial. That's going to be n factorial. Is that okay? Times n factorial over n to the n plus 1 to the n plus 1.
Then you can cancel the 2n factorials.
Yes. So that will be cancel out.
You can also, so it ends up being, you can make the plus 1 on the top. And
This one cancel out this one, right? So limit n approach infinity of n plus 1 over n to the n. Is this okay? Now I'm gonna divide it out.
hurts, but I understand it.
Does that look familiar? What is that? Ooh. So it's diverge.
Yeah. I'll keep that in mind. Wait, but Ellen. I got.
This is a definition of E.
I did not know that was equal.
Now you know.
Went over
I split them. Okay, so on your homework, I'm gonna do one more example. One more example is gonna be a fail ratio test. Then I have to do a different test. So this test I'm gonna do is alternative series test. So this question will be like this. In this particular case, you will do a ratio test and you're gonna get a 1. And if you get a 1, that means it's inconclusive. So now go back to AST. AST will prove this converge.
And then once we're doing all that, cancel all, make sure it's n plus 1, do it within to the n time singular, and then cancel the to the n. So you're left with just a singular
Are you sure you don't have a thing? No.
I'd like to know.
You definitely have it.
You don't think it's just you want yeah, we do like what about
Yeah, we're thinking larger than the girls.
I don't know. I didn't have time. My brain was like not working. Like I don't know.
I'm gonna scroll up on your. Can I scroll up on your thing?
That was the first time I made a test that like I didn't do stuff wrong. The first like
Bruh.
next test I'll be great.
Can you like unlock your iPad so we can see what you did? So we can see what you did last problem.
Eli! Maybe we're just great.
Because I got inconclusive. Okay, so like, why did the n plus 1 just go away?
No, only the plus one.
No, n plus 1. This one's n plus 1, n plus 1, right? So this we
Whoa.
can break this to 2.
Okay, I did all that, but there's because you know how if you have like n plus 1 to the n over n to the n, you can divide the bottom by n to the n, and then divide the
No, you
bottom
had to,
by-
first of all, you had to put it in the same parenthesis first. So I put in the same parenthesis because that is the rule I don't break, right? I don't divide. I'm gonna do basic algebra first. This is a basic algebra, and then this one is gonna split to become 1 plus 1 over.
Like I was thinking it the same way as if this was like square root, then you know how you would divide that by n squared, but the bottom by n.
Yeah,
But
but
this is like to the n, so you
you
divide
cannot
the
because
inside by n.
because when you expand this, let's say to the 2 power, then you're gonna have n squared plus 2n plus 1. So there's a lot of term after. So you'll be not precise. Yeah. So this is precise.
See, explain that. I was following until like you got n plus 1 over n. Because when I did it, I got n over n plus 1. And then I got to inconclusive. So this one is the problem if you plug in n plus 1 should be n plus 1 to the n plus 1. Oh, okay. I bet it's
I look like an intelligent 15 or like a 30. Anyways,
Yeah.
they're all weird. They change them for like every period. How you doing today, Mr. Yip?
You Homer? You understand that?
There's a few things that I'm gonna go over right now, but nothing that I can't explain. Huh? Well, I'm a 50 is doing nothing. You're just saying I look like an intelligent, an experienced.
I think you tried GPT to work on regular dogs.
Mr. A, come here.
It's not gonna answer.
It says like connecting.
What are you gonna say to him? You don't even know what you're gonna say to him.
I'll talk to Chris. Why? Can I have some hard questions?
Are you going to?
No, you can't do this.
Bro, you only do the easy questions. No, okay, bro. The benefit of podcast for you. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna come with me and check it. You're gonna do like, oh, I'm like 2 more rest today, but tomorrow is right. Probably I can continue to pay. I need to every month. What did I do? Honestly, Evan. Watch the you watch the anime. I have like 3. I have 3. I got good stuff myself. Always, bro. I started dating like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think
And what's your max?
I'm telling you.
He's like, oh no.
Wait, tell him it was me, bro.
Yeah, you should call him December.
You know, this guy gets busted. This guy gets busted. Doesn't look like that. These guys are supposed to be like, you just busted. Oh my God. So much.
I didn't know you could pop it like that.
How'd you do with this last quiz?
What?
8 out of 34. How'd you do? Good. How do you?
If it was oh, like practice, I thought you meant like pop like 8.
Dude, it dropped my skin. It dropped my time. I dropped it 8.
I know.
It's gonna get so cold.
No, it's not. We'll run.
We made a ramen.
Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
I had a piece of pizza, I think. But it took me the entirety of
I had Ask and see if we want. If we want. On the first one. Yeah, but seriously, we won't be in your room for us. We'll be in immediate. Okay.
This is after school, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's on.
Yeah.
When you watch like you can't just watch
You just missed the part.
I mean, sometimes I take notes.
not even like that was one thing, you know, it's like
I thought you were stuck.
Oh, yeah.
it's really just like writing
Oh, right.
like it makes you like
Um,
it's sliding and we're writing it.
but I studied English media programs, so it's really good, and they were talking about like you people get internships, and like most people get like a job. I had
Yeah, they're so good. It's actually so good.
Right? You sit in the club and you stop it up there.
Like, are you saying like just get out of That's what I'm gonna start doing. He said,
Why?
You just watch it.
the book.
No, like
No, the left.
I said lemon.
Yeah, and it was something about a little.
so what is the last time you read a book?
I don't want to know.
What the? 2 days ago. What?
How far are you in the book?
What's going on?
Like, I am genuinely, I learned the language, all these stuff, I read the book faster than you.
I read
So you don't pay attention. I
don't pay attention. Bro, I had 4 times the amount of points you had in the rabbit. I had so many bucks. She sounds like bro, like, I had so many points. I had so many points to stop putting them in there because it was like, oh, no, bro.
How many did you get outside of the way?
There's a lot of like, there's a lot of people who know.
Not today, that's like my favorite book.
Yeah, that was not too.
Overwatch?
This is good pressure to make fun Which one?
That's what you're doing when you're like. I did not know that. I wanted to know. Yes, man. Oh.
Grapes of Wrath was my
How'd you
favorite
know?
last year.
You know the UI?
Honestly, before you see
No, that's the first time. I read the book in
I
2 days.
yeah.
I prepared today until like the last minute, and then I read everything else like, oh, this is the last life-changing experience.
oh, that's like, that I people are
Right. Okay, it was working yesterday, where I could just connect my VPN and I could also
I
use
feel like when you research, you know, that's like,
No, I was using asking if I should do it. And I was like, dude, I might accept the fact that you got me tips. I don't really care about it. Like, it doesn't, I don't care either way. Yeah, I was thinking like, bro, like, you literally.
Oh, Fiona, you didn't take a test. Where you were?
Problem is, I highlighted the one, I highlighted the word, like, sometimes I'm like, okay, what is this? And then I spent like, let's say like 30 minutes on working on it. It's worked out. Kind of like, it wasn't working. It wasn't working, and the whole place was for that. So it just felt like constant trash.
And it keeps you trigger out. Like, bro, I'm not. I did it. Bro, all them always end. They always die.
Yeah. Right before those things are metal. Yeah. Just kidding. You're gonna be sitting she changed the whole time.
It's not like Game of
Like
Thrones.
archetypes because of engineering is going to business.
It's important to plot.
No, like
Right?
all six.
Bro, like, if you're trading.
What's your okay? I wanted to. I wanted to.
Yes, I have.
I haven't seen this before that you have.
Oh, and I'm gonna get it.
Oh, wait.
What? But I was in my.
It's like I made like cake, and then I just like smashed it into.
But I heard I had to stay in there for a semester before.
Oh my god, yes, bro. One thing I agree with.
Like I was like,
It's so bad.
oh, I
What?
my medical engineering. I have a better.
why?
I didn't make it. I'm waiting for.
Bro, beans and rice, that's literally like staple food. That is what I had today.
You deserve to get deported.
Oh, God, as soon as I'm.
That's ideology, it doesn't matter.
I'm not like beans. More than me, yes. I'm just saying, like, if you're born, bro.
And that's the mindset, that's the mindset.
No, what, you're gonna waste your money on you get protein from beans.
But this particular one, you see your friend beats.
Well, yeah, obviously, I'm not saying beans are bad. I'm just saying beans are good. This is a game. Yo,
First, it was kind of like a diet thing, like on a diet. But like also, I always felt like if I were to be animal, I wouldn't like if I had to.
Oh my
That was 8 years old. They said there was no photo. Like, that's like some crazy stuff. Well, like, how much is it?
For
I can't unlock my backlist. It looks really bad, but I can not. No, it does not taste. I want to try it, bro.
I have. Wait.
10 years ago. I never want to try it again. I don't even remember. Oh, yeah. You should have to go.
Oh, you like Israel?
Huh? 2 weeks ago. The one you gave me the test on my birthday. You don't remember? The awful test.
Yeah, I could have gone all
Tuition.
it pays good. It pays good. I'm not gonna.
And the classes that you pay
It
for.
actually pays
And then you
good.
have to like.
It's like no, not it's like everything's cheap. Bro, cheap good.
Are you even talking about
Cow tongue tastes good. Cow tongue with Alfredo sauce actually.
You don't stop at anything.
Everything. I had hard. I had sugar.
How do you like green?
Like, okay, here's the thing. Eating it by itself is really
You just eat the meat. Why are you eating the same bread?
You look like 12 years, like you did all the way and it's all there.
It's a good like if you have it in a sandwich,
You're the second person asking that.
Hey man, bro, I don't want to hear from you. I want to hear people eat fucking sweet potatoes, marshmallows, and ground beef, bro. Like, bring all this so fucking proud that that's a national food, bro. Like,
Oh, we like that hot pie too, the stupid.
yeah, I know that's good.
And we about to hire
Why can't I try it?
He's like,
It's just like,
dude, you both will be Chinese. You need to hire somebody to do Chinese.
He invented everything.
What thing is
Why you hire somebody?
Italy, oh, didn't like this video.
You know that's like why people
No. Bro, I want to take the classification. They have, but I take a lab on internet. I think they have a review that I did. It's fine if the whole thing is
your favorite Chinese food That's my favorite Chinese food.
Have you tried mapo tofu yet?
Holy shit.
Bird.
Look like that. You like that more than You like that more than
Elizabeth to do it because she's trying to go to this private college. Like for softball.
Got it.
Yeah, so I was talking about Chinese. You went to Italy, they gave me like,
Well, yeah, but it's like,
It is look up what that means.
Yo, look at him right now.
oh, this is so funny. That's what I was. She said, oh, let's try it out.
hey, do you want to study for camels? You can help. You got better than me.
It's a terrible job.
Wait,
Why do you hit that flag?
You were dying because you needed surgery, and me and you kind of like skip in, and we're like, what?
If you're going to search that, you're probably really going to get
Oh, what if we had Sloppa in there with us? All three of us.
If you type that up, that video back. I also. The white turkey.
We're not my back.
Oh, yo! I think I'll you too, right? 5 minutes. And we still wait 1.5. And I
Like for like, they don't have it on the Yeah. I have one at UF, one at UF, or not one at UF. She works at a clinic right now, but she's not
It's
in
like
the
there isn't any way to make it better. It's not like
physics.
Maybe
here, one have a look. One shot.
Oh, I thought it was you can write
what? Look, Sean, show me it right now. I mean, do you not know the transition? Yeah, but we need to I mean, like, I would say two words that. Yeah. I don't think we do it. I think I'm mad. I got one. Sure, I was like, what? I'm gonna like. Like, yeah, that's what you're doing. That's pretty good. You're like, late as hell, bro. I've been like out for like so long.
Actually,
Oh my god. What is that? Right there, you just gotta start hustling. Yeah, what the hell are you doing here? What the hell is it? You're making a poop, right?
I know.
Hey, like,
I like it. That's the name of the album.
Well, yeah. Those people, they're like set up to like read through like the range, like the look of like the fire. He did software engineering. And then now he's working for Long.
You don't know the transition is that's how
what?
so they get the code here. How? And then just trying to find out. Alan, look at my
You don't want to do it. Dude, I might need your phone.
You don't get
That's one time.
I bioengineering. Alan, did you search it up? No, you don't even do that. Because the guy is not. I'm worried for you when you get big out. Let's not do it. No, Dave, no. Just saying. Maybe or maybe not. Oh, you know. What if you eat when you're
Was that bad?
Oh boy. Oh boy.
It just like said soft stuff. Like, down my pocket.
Yeah.
Like one time I saw this he was like, oh, I'm eating. I was like, what? Like, you're like cute. Alright, I forgot. You know, like, we did software too.
Oh, but even that's a different fact. Okay, depends on where you go into electrical, right? Like, if you want to actually get a job, go to Lockheed Martin. No, you're not doing well. If you want to get a job, go to Lockheed Martin. Not working into Lockheed Martin.
No.
You should do, well, I don't know actually what's different. Software and electrical.
They're very different. But
Who's Whippex at? Huh? Lena still taking tests? Lena, go away. You have class. So sad.
I don't remember that's just something people.
That's bad.
Not bad.
Bad.
It's that.
It's bad. It's awful. And here's a shit with the good not work.